Hello, welcome to Shelf Defiance. We are continuing on with chapter 26 of Jurgen in Time's Hourglass. So last we left Jurgen, he was talking to the philologist, and now he has to leave Cockney, so let's see what happens. I am your disembodied narrator, and this book is made available by the amazing people at Project Gutenberg. Alright, so let's see what's happening with Jurgen and Time. Well, said Jurgen, when he had taken off all that foolish ironmongery and had made himself comfortable in his shirt. Well, beyond doubt, the situation is awkward. I was content enough incognito, and it is unfair that I should be thus ousted. Still, a sensible person will manage to be content anywhere. But whither, pray, am I expected to go? Into whatever land you may elect, my dear, said Anatias fondly. That much at least I can manage for you, and the interpretation of your legend can be arranged afterward. But I grow tired of all the countries I have never seen, dear Anatias, and in time I have visited nearly all the lands that are known to men. That too can be arranged, and you can go instead into one of the countries which are desired by men. Indeed, there are a number of such realms, which no man has ever visited except in dreams, so that your choice is wide. But how am I to make a choice without having seen any of these countries? Is it not fair to be expecting me to do anything of the sort? Why, I will show them to you, Anatias replied. The two of them then went together into a small blue chamber, the walls of which were ornamented with gold stars placed helter-skelter. The room was entirely empty save for an hourglass near twice the height of a man. It is Time's own glass, said Anatias, which was left in my keeping when Time went to sleep. Anatias opened a little door of carved crystal that was in the lower half of the hourglass, just above the fallen sands. With her fingertips she touched the sand that was in Time's hourglass, and in the sand she drew a triangle with equal sides, she who was strangely gifted and perverse. Then she drew just another no, then she drew just such another figure, so that the tip of it penetrated the first triangle. The sand began to smolder there, and vapors rose into the upper part of the hourglass. And Jurgen saw that all the sand in Time's hourglass was kindled by a magic generated by the contact of these two triangles, and in the vapors a picture formed. I see a land of woods and rivers, Anatias. A very old fellow, regally crowned, lies asleep under an ash tree, guarded by a watchman who has more arms and hands than Jigsvide. Jigsvide? It is okay. It is Atlantis you behold, and the sleeping of ancient time. Time to whom this glass belongs, while Bararius watches. Time sleeps quite naked, Anatias, and though it is a delicate matter to talk about, I notice he has met with a deplorable accident. So that time begets nothing any more, Jurgen. The while he brings about old happenings over and over, and changes the name of what is ancient, in order to persuade himself he has a new plaything. There is really no more tedious and wearing old dotard anywhere, I can assure you. But Anatius is only the western province of Cockney. I'm sorry, but Atlantis, I was like, that doesn't make sense. But Atlantis is only the western province of Cockney. Now, do you look again, Jurgen? No, now do look again, Jurgen. Now I behold a flowering plain and three steep hills with a castle upon each hill. There are woods wherein the foliage is crimson. Shining birds with white bodies and purple heads feed upon the clusters of golden berries that grow everywhere, and people go about in green clothes with gold chains about their necks and with broad bands of gold upon their arms. And all these people have untroubled faces. That is Inislocha, and to the south Inis Dalib, and to the north Inis Irkandra. And there is sweet music to be listening to eternally. Could we but hear the birds of Rhiannon, and there is the best of wine to drink, and their delight is common. For whither comes nothing hard nor rough, and no grief, nor any regret, nor sickness, nor age, nor death. For this is the land of women, a land of many colored hospitality. Why then it is no different from Cogni, and into no realm where pleasure is endless will I ever venture again of my own free will, for I find that I do not enjoy pleasure. Then Anatius showed him Ogygia and Tryphene and Sudarsana, and the Fortunate Islands, and Aea, and Charis, and Invalis, and the Hesperides, and Meropis, and Planasia, and Utara, and Avalon, and Tirnambeo, and Theleme, and a number of other lands to enter which men have desired, and Jurgen groaned. I am ashamed of my fellows, says he, for it appears their notion of felicity is to dwell eternally in a glorified brothel. I do not think that, as a self respecting young prince, I would care to inhabit any of these earthly paradises, for were there nothing else, I would always be looking for an invasion by the police. There remains then but one other realm, which I have not shown you, in part because it is an obscure little place, and in part because, for a reason that I have, I shall not assist you to go thither. Still, there is Luce, where Queen Helen rules, and Luce it is that you behold. But Luce seems like any other country in autumn, and appears to be reasonably free from the fantastic animals and overgrown flowers, which made the other paradises look childish. Come now, there is an attractive simplicity about Luce. I might put up with Luque if the local bylaws allowed me a rational amount of discomfort. Discomfort you would have full measure, for the heart of no man remains untroubled after he has once viewed Queen Helen and the beauty that is hers. It is for that reason, Jurgen, I shall not help you to go into Luque, for in Luque you would forget me, having seen Queen Helen. Why, what nonsense are you talking, my darling? I will wager she cannot hold a candle to you. See for yourself, said Antaeus sadly. Now through the rolling vapors came confusedly a gleaming and surging glitter of all the loveliest colors of heaven and earth, and these took order presently. And Jurgen saw before him in the hourglass the young Dorothy, who was not Heitman Michael's wife, and long and wistfully he looked at her, and the blinding tears came to his eyes for no reason at all, and for the while he could not speak. Then Jurgen yawned and said, but certainly this is not the Helen who was famed for beauty. I can assure you that it is, said Anatius, and that it is she who rules Luque. Whither I do not intend you shall go. Why, but my darling, this is preposterous. The girl is nothing to look at twice, one way or the other. She is not actually ugly, I suppose, if one happens to admire that washed out blonde type, as of course some people do. But to call her beautiful is out of reason, and that I must protest in simple justice. Do you really think so? Says Anatius, brightening. I most assuredly do. Why, you remember what Calpurnius Basius says about all blondes? No, I believe not. What did he say, dear? I would only spoil the splendid passage by quoting it inaccurately from memory. But he was quite right, and his opinion is mine in every particular. So if that no. So if that is the best Luque can offer, I heartily agree with you. I had best go into some other country. I suppose you already have your eyes upon some minx or other. Well, my love, those girls in the Hesperides were strikingly like you, with even more wonderful hair than yours, and the girl Ali, whom we saw in Turnambio, likewise resembled you remarkably, except that I thought she had the better figure. So I believe in either of those two countries I could be content enough after a while. Since part from you I must, said Jurgen tenderly. I intend, in common fairness to myself, to find a companion as like you as possible. You conceive I can pretend it is you at first, and then as I grow fonder of her for her own sake, you will gradually be put out of my mind without my incurring any intolerable anguish. Anatius was not pleased. So you are already hankering after those hussies, and you think them better looking than I am, And you tell me so to my face. My darling, you cannot deny we have been married all of 3 whole months, and nobody can maintain an infatuation for any woman that long, in the teeth of having nothing refused him. Infatuation is largely a matter of curiosity, and both of these emotions die when they are fed. Jurgen, said Anatius with conviction, you are lying to me about something. I can see it in your eyes. There is no deceiving a woman's intuition. Yes, I was not speaking quite honestly when I pretended I had as lief go into the Hesperides as to Tirnambio. Tirnambio. It was wrong of me, and I ask your pardon. I thought that by affecting indifference I could manage you better, but you saw through me at once, and very rightly became angry. So I fling my cards upon the table. I no longer beat about the bushes of equivocation. It is Ellie, the daughter of Cormac, whom I love, and who can blame me? Did you ever in your life behold a more enticing figure, Anatius? Certainly I never did. Besides, I noticed. But never mind about that. Still, I could not help seeing them, and then such eyes, twin beacons that light my way to comfort for my not inconsiderable regret at losing you, my darling. Oh yes, assuredly, it is to Tirnambio I elect to go. Whither you go, my fine fellow, is a matter in which I have the choice, not you. And you are going to Luque. My love, now do be reasonable. We both agreed that Luque was not a bit suitable. Why were there nothing else? In Luque there are no attractive women. Have you no sense except book sense? It is for that reason I am sending you to Luque. And thus speaking, Anatius set about a strong magic that hastened the coming of the equinox. In the midst of her charming, she wept a little, for she was fond of Jurgen. And Jurgen preserved a hurt and angry face as well he could, for at the sight of Queen Helen, who was so like young Dorothy La Desiree, he had ceased to care for Queen Anatius and her diverting ways, or to care for aught else in the world save only Queen Helen, the delight of gods and men. But Jurgen had learned that Anatius required management, for her own good, as he put it, and in simple justice to the many admirable qualities which she possesses. Yeah, I feel like the tear that he cried upon seeing Helen was kind of a dead giveaway that he was going to finagle his way closer to her. All right, well, that's the end of chapter 26. I believe there's only 42 chapters, so we are more than halfway. I'm excited to see how this ends. All right, well, that's it for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and see you next time.